Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. What did we witness last night, y'all? What did we witness last night, man? The milk's gone bad. Like, for real. I'm like, man, yeah, I'm gonna eat my crow. I'm gonna take a big, a nice big chunk, taking my bite. You know what I'm saying? Very hard pill to swallow. I'm gonna eat my crow. I was going for Mell Charlo, and this man got low. Before I get into that, man, I think the card overall was pretty good. You know, I think it was a good card. It was a beefy card compared to the Spence Crawford card. Some very interesting fights. You had Elijah Garcia against Resendiz. You know, we saw Resendiz break down Jared Hurd, and we ultimately saw Garcia break down Resendiz. And I think, you know, if he can avoid, you know, those 5 fights and getting hit in the head and accumulation of that much damage, you know, taking on that much, get more discipline and fighting at his range, his distance, you know, he is going to be a force to be reckoned with. I think that, you know, that technique, because Resendiz, had he had a little bit more power, that step over with that right hook, man, he could have canceled Christmas. But nevertheless, Garcia went with like a 8 out of 10 piece. He wound up landing like a 5 crispy on him after dropping him. And I think Tony Weeks was like, that's it. I've seen enough. You know, I think the Tank versus Mario Barrios win, I think that win is aging very well, especially when you look at the size of Mario Barrios compared to the size of Ugas. And then when you look at what actually took place in that fight, not saying that Ugas didn't land a couple good shots. It seemed like at first he had the more impactful shots, but Barrios had a crispy jab. You know what I'm saying? His left hand was very active. You know what I'm saying? I would say he showed an educated jab. You know, he was doing jabs and uppercuts and hooks all in the same motion on the same side. And then it got to where whenever he did decide to go to the other side, it was wide open. And he caught Ugas, man, coming in with that left hook, and Ugas didn't even know what hit him, man. Looked like he got smacked in the chin with a wrench. You know what I'm saying? So salute to Mario Barrios for getting the job done against Ugas. A lot of people saying he need to hang it up. It did look like he was non-committal, and then he did put his hands in his pockets at some point. So, that's that man's career. He knows whether or not he has the intestinal fortitude and the gumption to be able to go ahead and continue boxing. But if he's going to do it in that manner, then he might want to consider. He might want to consider it. You know what I'm saying? Who am I to tell a boxer what to do? He knows whether or not and how much exactly he has in the gas tank. Moving on to this Erickson the Hammer Lubin against Jesus Ramos fight. I do believe that early on when Lubin was doing more work and landing, I think the commentator was so busy talking about baseball, and I think baseball at a point in time, I mean, they was getting away from the fight. They were not calling some of the shots that Lubin actually had and what he was actually able to do. But if you look at and you listen to what Coach Kevin Cunningham was saying, and then you look at these numbers, you'll conclude that Jesus Ramos really won that fight. Now, I was pulling for Erickson Lubin and Coach Kevin Cunningham because, I like them, especially Coach Kevin Cunningham. And I think he is very underrated, very underappreciated as a coach. And I think that it was crazy, man. It was crazy. It was a crazy fight. Trying to go over my notes. They had 115, 113, 116, 112, and 117, 111. I had a 112 and 116 for Ramos. I mean, it was 25 to 78 in the body shots. And in total punches, it was 29% to 17% as far as Ramos. And Lubin landed a total of 91 punches. And I'm not sure if he was accurate enough and impactful enough for his 91 punches to actually render that judgment. However, this is why I always say, man, I like the knockout artists. I like those guys that have boxing skills, you know what I'm saying? The ones that can get in there, mix it up, make adjustments, and get the knockout. Because you cannot leave it up to the judges' hands in this day and age. We're seeing it over and over and over again now, to Ramos' detriment. He did take off like the last 3 rounds, much like Loma did against Devin Haney, and that didn't fare well because, where he took off, where he was getting a lot of credit for some of the rounds that he might not have won earlier on because he was the more busier fighter. Once he took off the rounds and let Lubin pick and choose and kind of, stab and move and stick, and, when he chose to do that, he was no longer pressing the action. Now, I know this new... I know everybody talk about the 4 criteria of scoring a boxing match. I know we all harp on that. But in today's day and age, they like the fighter who's aggressing and pressing the action. They kind of tend to cater that action more towards them. Unless you can take that bull on and be the matador and still get yours off to have the more impactful blows, to have the more devastating punches, and to be able to pretty much dictate how the fight is going at will, and you're not taking on that much damage. That's what they are catering their eye to when it comes to scoring these fights. I think it was a travesty. However, I salute Jesus Ramos for handling it the way he handled it. He handled it very well. He took that in stride, like a champ. I think the crowd was more disappointed, and some of the things that Lubin was saying afterwards, it's like, man, yeah, I mean, we know Lubin wasn't a gatekeeper, but man, I would have just took that victory and be like, hey, man, I won. The judges felt like I won and kept it moving. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have poked my chest out that much about it, but I salute Lubin and Coach Kevin Cunningham for getting that victory. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, they got the victory, whether we believe the verdict or not. Now, let's get down to the meat and potatoes, man. Let's get down to the meat and potatoes of this Jermell Ironman Charlo against Saul Canelo Alvarez matchup. I sat there, I watched that fight. I watched that fight. Jermell, he was swinging in the first round. I mean, the first round could have been a swing round, even though Canelo put more foot pressure. I think in the first round, Mell might have been slightly more active, but he was reluctant on his punches from the very first round. Gave him the first round. In the second round, he took a body shot, but I saw already in the second round that he was already moving too much. In the second round, Canelo, he was already aggressive. He was looking confident. He was sharp. He was pressuring. And I'm just like, man, this is not the kind of style. You can't let the bull be the bull. And that's where Jermell started it off. He let the bull be the bull. He didn't corral that bull. He was moving way too much. When you look at the people that actually clearly dominated and defeated Canelo Alvarez in Floyd Money Mayweather and Dimitri Bivol, when you look at them, they did not run from Canelo. You know what I'm saying? The good ones can stand right in front of you and make you miss, make you pay, make you reset, you know what I'm saying? But they're not running. I think Mell Charlo started off looking like Rigondeaux. In the third round, he landed a nice hook. But in the third round, I said Mell Charlo was fighting scared. I've never seen that. So Canelo, he was single shotting. He looked very poised. He looked tuned up, man. He had a couple hard shots to Jermell, and Jermell, again, he was fighting scared. Wouldn't let his hands go. In the fourth round, he had a few left hooks. And he's not throwing his right hand. At that point in time, I said, man, there's something wrong with this man's right hand, because he was not throwing that right hand. That most devastating, when he hit you with that jab, when he come around with that hook, and then he follow it up, you know what I'm saying, when he got some slight momentum with the overhand right, that's one of his signature punches. He did not throw that right hand. I was like, man, there's something wrong with the hand. That's what I was asking. In the fourth round, Canelo, he ate some hooks, but Canelo was doing some body shots. He was pressuring with some very hard body shots. That was in the fourth round. In the fifth round, he had a good left. And the left was looking like money whenever Jermell threw it, but he didn't connect as much. He connected a couple times, but at that point, Canelo Alvarez was already out jabbing Mell Charlo. And he was the one that was proactive, but Mell Charlo was the one that was reactive. In the sixth round, I said, look, man, Mell Charlo is not being first. He's being too elusive, and he's showing too much respect. I think Canelo had already gained Mell Charlo's respect already in that fight, to where it was like, man, it's clear that Mell Charlo wasn't going to be himself. And he had an exchange in that round, and Canelo, he had a good uppercut in that series. In the seventh round, Mell Charlo was not active. I said, man, he looked like he fighting scared. And I think that's the round when he dropped him. In the eighth round, he had a few punches, but it just looked like Canelo was just pressuring forward, you know what I'm saying? And he was just still doing this thing. He was pressing the action. You can see a little bit of frustration because Mell Charlo didn't want to engage. In the ninth round, I wrote down in my notes that Mell Charlo's will was broken. I think I put out a message in the community that I think at this point, before the 10th round, going into that round, Mell Charlo's will was already broken. It was nothing really to write in the comments, because Canelo was looking like he was doing a little boogeyman pose. He was making so many mistakes. He was walking in, crossing his feet over, walking in with his hips past his chin, with it in the high guard. He was making mistakes that rookies, journeymans, laymen's wouldn't allow him to make, man. And we all knew that if Mell Charlo going into this fight, we all knew that his best attribute in actually winning this fight was being more offensive. It was not going to try to be this defensive, elusive guy. It was like, yeah, maybe a little bit more in the first half, maybe be a little bit more than what you are, being elusive, using a lateral movement, but not flat out run. We all knew that Mell Charlo's only shot was to let his hands go, and he refused to let his hands go. And in the 10th round, I said that, man, Jermell was letting Canelo Alvarez walk in with his hands down. He caught Canelo, but he was hesitant. And Canelo, I had down that Canelo Alvarez was already teeing off at will. In the 11th, kept his hands in his pocket, Mell Charlo did. And Canelo started really ratcheting up the shots because he didn't have no fear. There was no fear of nothing coming back. Mell Charlo didn't give him anything to respect. Even when you looked at his punches, they looked like they were rehearsed and that he wasn't even trying. It was looking like, I want you to see that I'm throwing this, but it was not effective in trying to hit your target. And for everybody trying to put the fingers on Derrick James was actually coaching. Just like Coach Kevin Cunningham, they both was actually coaching last night. So to try to put this on the coach, this was not the coach's fault. Mell Charlo came out and said that, yeah, he could have been more aggressive. Yeah, he could have been more active. That's the Mell Charlo that we know. And I had his back when he was out there, and he was actually showing that he could talk, like he had some sense, and he was, not really riling up, not really saying nothing too crazy and the hype up, and everybody was slandering him, saying, oh man, this is not normal, this is not. And I'm like, oh man, don't worry about it, because if he would have been rowdy and disrespectful, they say, oh man, look, you know what I'm saying? Look at him talking all that noise. He ain't learned nothing. Then when he actually start talking with some sense, they say, oh no, this is different, man. I don't respect this energy. He respects Canelo way too much. And I was like, it ain't that. It's just he don't want no more. He don't want to add any more fuel to the fire going into this fight, because he already had the split between him and his brother. He already had being outnumbered by the fans and the pundits and everybody who made an analysis basically said it was no shot. He had no shot. And I'm like, hold on, man. As far as size, he's taller with a longer reach than Bivol. And we seen what Bivol was able to do. And I reasoned in my head that Jermell Charlo wasn't as defensive as Bivol, but he was more offensively gifted. So I thought that his chance would definitely be in his offense. He said he could have been more active. But Derrick James was out there coaching him, saying, hey, man, are you tired? Are you hurting? Like, if you're not, then, let your hands go. Like, what's going on? Like, do you know you're losing? He's like, you're pretty much losing this fight. Like, you got to let your hands go. And the score I came out was 108 to 119. It was 11-42 in the body. It was 27% to 40% in power punches. It was 18% to 35% in total punches, with Canelo Alvarez just totally dominating that fight. And for him to come out and say, did he even try to win? I would say, no, he didn't, man. So I got to eat my crow, man. I thought that Jermell Charlo will give that effort as far as always wanting your shot. Saying, all right, I got my spot in line. I'm a dare to be great. But it was almost like some of the comments he said as far as, I'm a legend now in the sport, and hopefully I'll get into the Hall of Fame and y'all recognize me as such, and I can still go back down to 154. See, that kind of mindset let us know that this may have just been him getting to the bag. Now, on one side, I understand Jermell Charlo never really getting his big payday. I do. And he really did deserve his payday. It's totally different than you actually getting your shot and you leaving something out there on the table, man. That's why I would respect somebody like Wilder, the way he went out swinging. Like, it was no quit. It was never no, nah, I'm not gonna throw my hands. Like, I don't respect that aspect of what happened last night. I really don't. I don't respect the fact that, you know what I'm saying, many people were clamoring and doing all kind of things, jumping out the window trying to get a shot at Canelo Alvarez. Here you go, you got your shot. You don't let your hands go. And I was trying not to get in my own head when I seen Jermell Charlo before, because I was kind of nervous after seeing Earl before, and I was like, nah, he don't look glossy, he don't look glazy. When I had that look, he had that look like it was a stoic look, but I was thinking, man, okay, maybe, fight jitters, maybe he just pounding in his head to stay focused, don't get distracted by the crowd, just go in there and do your thing, have your tunnel vision. But the whole spirit of this fight felt like he was just there to say that I survived Canelo Alvarez. I got the t-shirt and the mug saying I was in the ring. And that response where he said, at least I didn't get knocked out like these other guys, like that right there was a very telling statement, which that's why when they say he need PR, that's in the aspect, that's a PR nightmare right there. I don't believe that this performance that Jermell Charlo had last night, I'm not sure if that did anything for the blood fight. I'm not even sure if this fight does anything to promote the Canelo and the Bud fight now. I think boxing is in limbo right now. And I don't know if Mell Charlo made it. I mean, for one, for sales, people are not going to show up because you can get the big bright light syndrome again. Like, people can blame that on big bright lights. People can blame that on now Canelo Alvarez and everybody that represent and rock with him and push and pull for him gonna walk around make him look like he's even more of a god. It's like, you gotta fight. It's like you showed up to be like, all right, I'm present. Like, yeah, I was on roll call. Like, yeah, when the teacher was like, yes, are you in the building? When they won Jermell, Iron Man, Charlo, you said here. And after that, you didn't do no classwork. And it looked like you didn't do your homework. And you had both of your coaches, you had Derrick James and you had Juan Guzman basically telling you to get active. And in that moment, you chose to put your hands in your pocket. I don't agree with that. That was a major letdown, man. Like, it was frustrating. I felt frustrated for Canelo in the aspect that he wanted to fight. I would have much rather had him go out swinging, like, didn't have the dignity to say, oh man, I survived. Like, I understand taking a knee to gather yourself. Fundora did that and wound up coming back and doing very well when that happened with Lubin when he got caught. He took a knee, gathered himself, he came back, he wound up coming back, and they wound up stopping that fight. I understand that, gathering your wits about you, clearing out some cobwebs, but that's not the Mell Charlo that we know. And I'm not sure, I'm yeah, the payday is good, and yes, Mell Charlo deserved the payday. Yes, he did. For everything he did, because I'm not sure if he's ever gotten one like that. But to get an opportunity, I would much have rather for one of them opportunities to have been for a David Benavidez, who we know going to come in and fight, who we know at least going to swing. He going to bang. He going to get active. David Morrell Jr., he would have let his hands go. He would have got active. He would have banged. Now you're going to add to the precedence of Canelo Alvarez to where his power is just so great and he cut off the ring so well. It's like, yeah, that look good when nobody ain't throwing nothing back. Tank always say, yeah, anybody can fly them bullets. What you gonna do when them bullets fly back? You gotta throw back some bullets. Not just take cover. So I didn't understand it. You know what I'm saying? And with Jermell saying that he would go back down and he want Bud, and Bud saying, look, congratulations, Canelo. You made the lion look like a cub. And he was like, I'm done. I'm over Mell Charlo. I'm over this, I'm over this fight with Jermell. It's like you went out there and laid down, and that's what everybody's saying, man. I was just hoping somebody might come out here and like actually break this down and tell me what did we witness last night. Does anybody have any kind of answers? What did we witness, man? Is this boxing right now? Is this the level of boxing that we're gonna get to where everybody just gonna be happy to just get in the ring and share the ring with Canelo? And we can't get a Bivol rematch at 68, and everybody else is co-signing that. Well, the same thing happened with David Benavidez. I hope not. If that fight is to happen, I know Benavidez and Andre, they got their thing going on. There's been a little sprinkling, a little rumblings that Jermell is actually going to fight Jose Benavidez. So that might be on the table. That's going down. We all know how boxing is. Boxing is very fickle, day to day. You know what I'm saying? We never know from day to day. But that's what's on the slate right now. That's what everybody's saying right now. It's about to go down. So I'm just trying to figure out, man, like, can anybody explain what actually happened last night? What did we witness? What did we witness last night, y'all? Was Jermell actually really there to fight, or was it to collect the check? Like, was he what happened last night, man? Break it down for me, man. I need to know. I need some answers. I try to be one of the people that pull for him, you know what I'm saying? Because he didn't have really no support. I tried to get behind the brother and say, hey, man, you got a shot. Got to put some energy out there. Nobody was pulling for him, but I wasn't jacking for that. I definitely wasn't jacking for that. So I thought maybe somebody might have some kind of explanation. Somebody might be able to add something and let me know something. But what did we see last night? What did we witness last night? He was daring to be great. Cookie Monster. Oh, Cookie Monster. I'm gonna put out a link for you. Yeah, just so you can tell me what you saw. What happened? What was he doing, Cookie Monster? Come on, man. Let me ask you some questions. Let me ask you some questions. Cookie Monster said, I saw him. Cookie Monster said, I saw him get in the ring. I saw him get in the ring, get the bag, and go home. Is that what happened, man? Did we get taken advantage of? Like, that was disappointing to me, man. That was unfulfilling, man. That was not satisfying to me. The same way Jermell said that, you know, fighting the winner of Tim Kazoo and Brian Mendoza in the Australian crowd, even though that might be a bag too, but that's gonna be somebody who's gonna come and fight and try to, you know what I'm saying, give it all he got. Even though I think skill for skill, I don't think that Tim Kazoo can hang with him. But just like he said, that would be unsatisfying. This fight last night was unsatisfying to me. What do you think, Cookie Monster? What happened? Somebody let me know. It was sad watching that mess. Yeah, it was, man. It was like this. I was saying, man, this is why we don't really get the opportunities, because, man, if you just want to be, able to take the tour, you don't really want to see. Now you just want to be there. Say, I've been there, I've done that. Cookie Monster said he didn't even give him no body work. Right, he didn't give him no body work. He let him come in crossing his feet. Let him come in hands down. And normally when his hands down, it's man down. He just let him get away with a lot of things last night. And I don't know, man. Was that already in the card? Like, hey, you ain't gonna win this fight. Canelo did that commercial and he said, man, nobody hits harder than Netflix. And I was just like, man, would they even allow something like that to happen for the apple cart to get upset at this stage in the game with so much money, and then Canelo coming out and saying, I'm gonna be a billionaire in this sport and this and that. But they let somebody, or let's be honest, did Jermell just fumble? Did he just fumble his opportunity? Did he just fumble away his opportunity? I just wanted to come in and eat some crow and be educated. If anybody know anything about this fight, any kind of intel, any kind of insight, you know what I'm saying? You wasted my time last night. Yeah. It was just like, it was anticlimactic. You know what I'm saying? It was all this build up and all this and this and that. I could have been watching Tubi. Yeah. I could have been doing a whole lot of other things, you know what I'm saying, other than wasting my money, wasting my time. I thought the dog was gonna come up, like, you know what I'm saying? I was just like, then he used the same thing, like he used Canelo's thing afterwards about being a different kind of animal and stuff. I'm like, it was the energy behind this was just for free. Yeah, the energy behind this was just so weird. I'm like, now in boxing, man, like the big fights, are they like unicorn? Like, do we even want the big fights anymore? I mean, I know we want them, but like, if we're gonna get this, we're gonna get stuff like this happening all the time. Like, do we really want the big fights? That's what we gotta ask ourselves. And was that attitude, that demeanor that Jermell showed all through these press conferences, was it showing too much respect? Or was it that he knew that he wasn't really going to go in there and do anything to where he could have put himself in a position to be able to get knocked out? I'm like, man, if we're going to fight, you got to stretch me, man. I'm going to try to stretch you. You got to have to stretch me. You got to beat me to sleep. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? My husband cried in the car. You crazy, Mr. B, man. You crazy. Like, man, what? Like, this what the future of boxing holds, man. Is like, can we predetermine? There was some pretty good odds. 50 would have got me 5-10 last night. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was some good odds when Charlo might, you know, actually win some bread, but like, I didn't expect that, man. I think Jermell actually squandered an opportunity. I think that, you know, a person like me, I would have to lay off of Canelo now, man. If people want to get in front of him and show him that much respect and be that courteous and just let him have his way, it's like, why would you ever even pick against him now? It's almost like predetermined to not pick against him. And it's not because can't nobody win, because we've already shown that Bivol, he didn't have no problems in that fight. The judges had it more closer on the scorecards than what it really was, but he didn't have any problems in that fight. But is this what we supposed to expect now when everybody get in front of Canelo Alvarez, where you're not going to let your hands go, you just there to show up and you want the bag, and you going to be able to say, hey, I've been there, I've done that, I got the t-shirt? Like, I don't understand. Like, somebody let me know. Like, somebody tell me what's going on, man. Did anybody see anything last night? Cookie Monster. You don't have to lay up off of him. Charlo didn't do what him normally do. Yeah, he didn't, man. That was so that wasn't. I didn't expect that. That was his shot. He's an offensive fighter. He's one of the most offensively gifted fighters. He let that Irish. You funny, Miss Cookie. Let that Irish man beat him. Man, looked like he had the lucky charms, didn't he, man? That man, he let that man do whatever he want, man. He's like, Canelo came in like, you gonna eat your cornbread? He's like, no, you can have my cornbread. I ain't never seen Jermell in the cup giving up his cornbread like that. That man gave his cornbread up, man. He dropped his cornbread up, and he gave him a napkin. That's crazy, man. Like she said, he let that Irish man beat him. What is that? The baby cub felt that power in round 1 and called it quits. He did not want to get stopped, so he ran. Yeah, man. I said, hey, Daniel, salute for coming in and participate, man. I said, man, was that Guillermo Rigondeaux? I thought that was Rigondeaux. The last fight Rigondeaux had, man, he just ran around. I was like, that was so uncharacteristic. But you think it was the power. He felt the power. I don't know, man. He sparred with some dudes, man. He sparred with some people that got some crack, man. Was it that he felt the power and he went under the power? Or was it already in the cards that, hey, man, you ain't gonna win this fight, so don't even try? I like for you to elaborate, Daniel. I just want to know. And some of the responses, man, I know YouTube is going to have a field day when it comes to all these takes in that interview that he did, man, answering them questions the way he did, and that's not going to age well. So finally, man, my man, who would have thought, man, one of my favorite boxers would end up in the age well games. And I don't even know if this, bank account wise, he's feeling real good. But as far as this move of taking that fight, I don't know if that was to his benefit. I don't know if you saw the first body shot Canelo landed, put Mell in retreat mode. Yeah, I saw it. It's body work. You know what I'm saying? I pay attention to all body work. Yep, I had that down. By the fourth round, the body work was already, that's pretty much what it was. It was a free jug every time he came in. Boom, like he was coming in with his hands down. Jermell had the longer reach. He was crossing his feet coming in. He was coming in with his hips in ahead more than his chin in the high guard. And Mell didn't let his hands go. So that just add to the reputation of Canelo as far as his power? Like, do you really think his power is just that much? I mean, like, he's like for real? Like, or was it that Jermell didn't really intend on winning that fight, man? Because the quote of the night, I think, is Canelo Alvarez saying, did he really come to win? Did he try to win? Did Jermell even try to win? And when he said, at least I didn't get knocked out, you know what I'm saying? Like this and that, like being Lil Mell, I was like, oh my goodness. No. Don't say that, my friend. But I just wanted to get some feedback on this, man. Like, and now Canelo, he's overconfident now. Like, you know, he feel like he could do anything right now. He can do anything he want. Like, the momentum and all that, like now, it could, if he gets somebody that really want to clash with him when the next go around, you know what I'm saying? If he gets somebody that want to clash with him on the next go around, that confidence coming off that fight with Mell, you know what I'm saying? It could, you know. But Canelo's the consummate professional. I guess he's going to train. But I'm going to back up off of the man. I'm going to have to back up off him. I give him a lot of slack. You know what I'm saying? I was pulling. You know, I know Mell didn't have that much support, but I'm going to have to back up off of Canelo, man, because for that to happen, man, if people in boxing, if your opponent is going to let you do stuff like that, who am I? Cookie Monster said he tried all right. He tried to cash that check and it cleared. So That was a money grab, Cookie Monster. Dang. At our expense. What you think about the Mell versus Bud fight now? I think that going back down in weight to 154 will be a bad idea, to be honest. I know that this performance, as far as them two fighting in the build up, you know what I'm saying? I think I don't know now, but I know that this performance it's not going to help. Because Bud already, he already kind of got a hands-off approach, like, oh man, the luster of that is gone. You know what I'm saying? Even though he was saying he wanted Nello really next, but going back down, I mean, if Mell Charlo saying that I can easily make weight, that's why I say he like, man, I can easily make that weight. And the way he sounded, he just switched. He almost sounded like he was relieved, like that he won that fight, like. So I don't know what this performance did for that fight. I would still watch that fight, Mell versus Bud, because I think it'll still be down. If Mell, it's crazy that I gotta say this. If Jermell comes to fight, that's crazy. I gotta say that now. But if Mell comes to fight, that's still a good fight. But I think that, man, he gonna the build up and all that. He's not gonna be able to live this one down. You know what I'm saying? As far as cutting the weight, he's been doing it for a long time. So I'm not sure. He said he'll feel better. And now it's almost like he wants the bigger fights and it's all about the bag. And that's what boxing has become. That's another reason why I wanted to say this is a new era right now where people just want that bag. We got hoodwinked. I'm sticking to my theory. Well, we got bamboozled, man, with this one. $84, you know what I'm saying? $84.99. I mean, it was a nice, good stat card, I can say that. But as far as that main dish, you know what I'm saying? I think we got hoes, Tommy. We got hoes. So I thought maybe somebody might want to, you know what I'm saying, come in here and elaborate on what y'all seen or what the theories are going ahead. Miss Cookie seemed to think that we got bamboozled. I'm thinking we did too, man. They just picked up the bag on us. And the media is having a field day. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. A lot of people wanted to see Mell lose, and he gave him the benefit, and it was the lack of effort for me. I would have rather him go out swinging. Like my man Earl never gave up, man. My man Earl was, you know what I'm saying? Like, regardless, Earl is a dog. Earl was still trying to, you know what I'm saying? No matter, he couldn't do much, but he was trying, man. He fought his heart out. Like, I think Jermell, man, I think this is gonna aid, like, financially, yes. He's gonna be stunting financially. You know what I'm saying? But I think he's gonna look back at this and be like, man, what did I do, man? That was a missed opportunity. Cookie Monster. He got the bag, and I received a stomach ache, a headache, and a mini heart attack. Back to my man Daniel. I be seeing a lot of fans talking about the weight, but they still advocating for Bud to fight Canelo at 168, and even be talking about he gonna stop Canelo. It make no sense because Canelo would beat him up. I was saying that, like, in the argument, Dan, I was saying that as well. I said, man, it don't make any sense for people to be saying, oh man, it's silly for Jermell to be moving up, you know what I'm saying, all these weight classes and this and that, and then turn right around in the same breath and ask for Bud to do it, who came from an even smaller weight class, like 35, 40, 47, 54, 60, 68. So Jermell, he kind of said, well, he felt the weight. Like, yeah, he felt a little bit sluggish. But in the back of his mind, man, you could hear the politics in his answers. And it wasn't really the weight, but still, even so, you gotta get. I know one thing. Bud would actually swing. Bud is not. He don't got the temperament. I think Bud, man, he got that dog, that super dog in him, where he's going to swing. So if they set it up the way he go up there and he make the weight and he feel like he can go do it, he'll get even more respect for daring to be great. But I know one thing, Bud will actually swing. Bud ain't gonna keep his hands in his pocket. Either you're gonna have to drop or beat Bud up or knock him out, but Bud is not gonna go in there and not give you everything that he got. I do know that. And it's sad that I gotta say if Mell Charlo comes to fight now after watching this fight, because that's crazy, man. I think that this performance did nothing for him. You know, but I think right now, with the confidence that Canelo have, and I don't know any of the backdoor stipulations or what actually would happen if that was to go on, but with Bud coming out saying, you know, that little rumor about him saying he was 180 already, and that's not too far from 168 to cut down and stuff like that. I don't know. I just know that he would let his hands go. I never thought that would happen with the Iron Man. So at this point in time, I'm just like, thanks for the super chat, Cookie Monster. I don't want to see that fight now. Yeah, it kind of like, yeah, because you don't know what you're going to get. Like, if somebody just going to show up to be like, I shared the ring with Bud, the Bud going to be like, all right, I shared the ring with, I don't got Bud doing that. I shared the ring with Jermell, but yeah, I don't think it, not for a bunch of bread anyway, because it's just like, man, fans pay for that. When you support a fighter and you know how that fighter fights, granted, even if they lose, like how I support Earl, even though I support Earl and how he fights, even in a losing effort, I'll still pay for Earl because I know until his last chance, he gonna give it all he got. And as a supporter, when you buy a fight, you're looking for your fighter to show up. That's why people can say what they want about Tank, but Tank gonna show up. Tank ain't gonna put his hands in his pockets. You know what I'm saying? He gonna give it all he got. You know what I'm saying? He's not gonna let nobody just come in there and make all them kind of mistakes. He gonna try to put hands and feet on you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not sure this is gonna age well, Miss Cookie. I'm not sure if this is gonna age well, man. I'm seeing all the headlines and everybody making a big whoop-de-doo about what's going on, and this didn't do good. This didn't do good for Mell. So this didn't do well, man. But yeah, I'm along with you, man, Miss Cookie. We gotta wait and see, man. I don't know what you think Mell gonna do now. And Daniel Ankra, once again, what do you think about the Ramos and Lubin decision, though? Them scorecards was horrendous. Yes, they were. Those scorecards were horrendous, man. Look, I had the score, and I keep my score. I scored all the fights. These are my scores. This is how I score all of them. I score all my fights. Right? Lubin, the first round. Ramos, the second. Lubin, the third round. Then the fourth round, Ramos. Fifth round, Ramos. Sixth round, Ramos. Seventh round, Ramos. Eighth round, Ramos. Ninth round, Lubin. 10th round, Ramos. 11th round, Ramos. Lubin might have got the 12th. I had a 112, 116. Lubin was more active with a crispy jab in the first. And for Ramos, the first round was a fill-out round. Lubin, he was on the back foot. He stayed off the ropes. He was kind of disciplined in the second round. And in the second round, it looked like that's when Ramos started stalking him. You know what I'm saying? Stalking him with a lot of foot pressure and some good body work. You know what I'm saying? Some good body work. But he stayed pressuring. In the third round, Lubin, he had a good jab. But he got caught a couple times on the ropes. And that's when he started going back into the ropes and all that. Fourth round, same thing. Good jab. Ramos had some success in spurts. Lubin, in the fifth round, he had some laws in the action, but he was successful to the body at times. But Ramos just started outworking him at that point. I felt like in the seventh, I was saying that Lubin wasn't active enough. He landed a couple shots. Ramos, he had ate a couple, but he was more active. In the eighth, I was like, man, he won't let his hands go. And Ramos was outworking him and bullying him. And ninth round, Lubin was walking straight in. He was lazy. He was fighting uninspired. And I think that's the point in time when Ramos, unfortunately, he took off. He started taking off rounds. And in the 10th, I was like, man, let your hands go. You could hear and see Coach Kevin Cunningham, you know what I'm saying, getting all frustrated and saying, hey, man, like, you all right, man? You good? Let your hands go straight down the middle. Like, give you 1-2, stick and move. Like, he was fired up. He said, man, do you want to win this fight? You know what I'm saying? And he was saying, like, get active. And he just wouldn't let his hands go. So I had it complete opposite. I know the judges had it 115, 113, 116, 112, and 117, 111 for Lubin. But I had it 112 to 116 for Ramos. And I was actually pulling for Lubin to win. But I don't agree with that. Lubin landed 91 total punches. Body shots, it was 25 to 78 in body shots in favor of Ramos. And percentages, it was 29% to 17% in total punches. Like, as far as active and pressing the fight and everything, yeah, I feel like, man, that, you know, that's why I say you can't let things go to the scorecards nowadays. You cannot let the scorecards dictate who gets the judgment in fights. You got to take it out of the judge's hands, man. And with what we saw with Mell Charlo, man, with him not being as active and not letting his hands go, you got to think they're already going to kind of have you behind on the scorecards alone. So we saw a guy that was more active. He might not have been as accurate as Lubin, but he was made more active than Lubin, and he pressed the action. He forced the fight. Lubin took off rounds. His coach was screaming at him, yelling at him for him to get going, and they pretty much robbed him. Now, you can say that Ramos took some rounds off. That last quarter of the fight, he kind of took some rounds off. Even though he was present, he just wasn't pressing like he was before. So I'm like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about that, man. I mean, but yeah, that was a horrible decision, Dan, man. It's unfortunate. I'm glad that Ramos, he handled it like a good sport. Let me see. Dan, I had the fight scored the same. Hopefully next time Ramos going to learn and not leave it to the judges. Yeah. Yeah, and you can't let up. You can't let up. You know what I'm saying? You're not there to get overtime. You're not there to just let your foot, you know, and then if your demeanor changes in a fight to where you're no longer doing something that you used to do, the judges can say, oh, well, that shot must have changed the game, or he must really be feeling his power. There's so much that they can actually infer unless you show them. You got to keep your foot on the gas. You got to keep your foot on their neck. You never let up. You never let your enemy breathe. If you're not gassed, if you're not winning, if you're giving it your all, because in most of these cases, you get 36 minutes. Wins championship caliber fights, you get 36 minutes. You need to fight all 36 of the minutes. Yeah, it's laws and action. You got to know how to get your rest and all that, but you cannot let your opponent, you can't let up on the gas, man. And this is like, we're in the era of politics, where politics get in the way of boxing, man. Whereas the perceivable guys, see, right now, they probably looking at like, okay, well, Jesus, he's young enough to bounce back. You know, he can climb his way up to the top. Look at where Lubin came from. Lubin may be more marketable because he can say, I shared the ring with this, I shared the ring with that, I did this, I did that. And they can kind of make that pot down there that's brewing with all them sharks, you know what I'm saying, that's coming up. Because 154 is starting to, if you really look at it, people don't really get into that division that much. It's kind of overlooked a little bit. But there's some sharks swimming around. You know what I'm saying? There's some sharks swimming around. We see what can happen at any given time. I want to see Canelo fight Benavidez next, just to shut up the haters. In my opinion, I think Canelo beats him simply because his style is tailor-made for Canelo, but that's a good fight. I totally agree, and I'm pretty sure that David Benavidez is going to throw his hands. He don't know no different. He don't know no different. He's going to come forward. He's going to apply pressure. He's going to let his hands go. And I don't think that him getting bullied, he's not going to allow himself to get bullied. He's not going to allow himself to be intimidated. I think that dealing with Caleb Plant, I think that's going to age well for him. Dealing with that kind of, the footwork that Caleb Plant had, because, Caleb Plant did give Canelo some challenges until he got caught. And ultimately, Canelo put that pressure on him. But that's going to be a good fight. He's going to come to fight. He's going to come to fight. He's one of them ones that he want that torch passed down to him. He got a pretty decent fan base. And that's a good fight right now. I think the appetite for that fight has just went up. I think the appetite for Canelo and Benavidez just went up. I think the appetite for that, is there now. I think it's been there. I think that people are going to call for it. And they're going to say, well, that's pretty much one of the only fights to make. How do you see Andrade and Benavidez panning out? I would say, even though we had Andrade come back in with DeMar Nicholson, he got the dub on that one. I would have liked to have seen Boo Boo be a little bit more active, but I'm glad that he's finally getting around and getting this smoke. So Benavidez got to see Andrade. We don't know what's going to happen with that. I'd love to know what you think about, Andrade and Boo Boo. But yeah, I think Canelo and Benavidez, it's time now. It's time now. And I don't know what's going to happen with Mell as he get back into this loop and he get back active, you know what I'm saying? Because I was starting to hear a lot of people saying that Mell was better than Mell, you know what I'm saying? So were the rumors that he was going to fight one brother and then the next brother, was that going to be true? But yeah, I think that the biggest fight right now for Canelo is Benavidez. Yeah, so just the new era of boxing, man, where the big fights do this. There was no climax in that fight, man. And Canelo's reputation precedes him once again, man. So we're going to see two Mexican monsters up against each other or what? Is that the fight everybody clamoring for? Is that a big money fight? You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like the same fan base. You know what I'm saying? So what the true numbers are, and I don't even know what these numbers did for last night either, but man, I don't know. It's a lot to be seen. I really wanted to come out, eat my crow, because I was pulling for Mell Charlo, the offensive guy. You know what I'm saying? The guy that I'm used to seeing throwing. You know what I'm saying? The one that would actually throw that right hand. You know what I'm saying? I came out to see that, and as a consumer who supports and pushes for fights and makes content, man. I didn't get my money's worth last night in that fight, Jermell. You know I got you. I be saying this Charlo hate o'clock. You know what I'm saying? I be talking about hate o'clock every time they be hating on you. But this one, man, a lot of the criticism coming down for Jermell after this performance is gonna be warranted. I'm sorry. But we keep it tight and right. We gotta call it right down the middle. And this one was a dud, Mel. I'm disappointed, bro. I was just about to ask who you got winning, Benavidez or Andrade. I think David beats Andrade. Right now, I would have to lean that way. Like an active Andrade, because he's, according to CompuBox, believe it or not, Andrade defensively is up there with Shakur and Bivol defensively. So and they're just like a lot of people don't give Regis credit defensively because they don't look at numbers. They just look at performances and the narrative around these people. Demetrius Andrade is more of a defensive fighter because he's somewhat awkward. He's more of a defensive fighter. His numbers are up there with Shakur Stevenson and Dimitri Bivol. And it's some of the best in the game as far as defense. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to be a good fight. Now, I know that pressure, and I believe that Benavidez must hit a little bit harder than what he lead people on to believe, because it's one of them things where it don't look like those punches hurt, but as the fight go on, it starts to hurt everywhere. It's like if he keep punching in the same spots over and over again, it's that pressure that power that kind of wear you down. Where it don't look visibly like it hurt, but that's a good fight. Right now, I give the slight edge to Benavidez. But it wouldn't be surprising me if he made Benavidez miss and made him pay a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because I think Plant kind of was doing a good job at it. But then again, these big fights, Plant, that offensive, he just haven't been able to bring his offense. Now, we do know Andrade's the type that he'll try to drop you or get you buzzed or create that excitement in the beginning of the fight. He'll kind of taper it down. I think that maybe we might see something like that where he might catch Benavidez early, and then as the fight go down, as that gas tank, you know what I'm saying, kind of depletes, it'll be a barn burner, and then eventually Benavidez can catch up to him. That's just how I see the fight going right now. I would like to see them guys go closer to the fight and how they look and how they talking and what they saying. But I gained a lot more respect for Benavidez after that Plant fight. I'm not going to lie. Because I used to be on Benavidez hard. I don't know why Maul fighting Jose Jr., to be honest. On there, any 160s he could have fought. Plus, he need to get that lick back against Plant because he got punked. Yeah, I mean, maybe he felt as though he maybe needed somebody before Plant. And I don't know what kind of fighter Jose is. He is becoming more active. And we know activity is good, so he's becoming more active. He was in there with Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia pretty much beat him handily. I think he frustrated him a lot. So I think that this is, even though we don't want to call these boxers out of respect, I think that they're viewing this as a comeback fight or what they call a tune-up. You know what I'm saying? Even though I'm not calling Jose a tune-up, but I think that's how they're treating it in order to get a Plant. I think that's the reason why. And yeah, there are some people like Carlos Adames. You got Janabek. I'm not sure what's going on with Jaime Munguia, but you got some dogs down there. You got some people at 160 that want that smoke. You know what I'm saying? I think that they're being very gracious to Jermell by allowing him to keep that belt and to come back and do all the things that he's doing and getting himself together. But he looked like he on the right track. I seen him training with Roy Jones. Said Roy Jones was giving him some tactics and showing them some strategies and bringing some things down to him. And I think it's more for the mental. Because Jermell was always a solid, technical boxer with, one of the best piston-like jabs in the game. So I think it's more to get his, to guide him back in the right way instead of just throwing him in there. There's some people in there that probably try to jump on him right away, fluster him mentally, So I think it's a grooming process for him to be active so that he'll be ready, really ready when it's coming back to Plant. Because everybody don't get down like Like how Earl say, man, I don't do tune-up. Everybody ain't built like Earl, where they could just, you know what I'm saying, range through the snow. They just gonna go in there and, you know what I'm saying, go for the gusto, not get their tune-up in, not get their comeback fight, not get, you know what I'm saying, knock off some of that ring rust. Everybody ain't gonna do that. And that might have been to Earl's detriment. Maybe Maul sitting back, learning from what he's seen in these fights and how people are coming back, what they're saying. And I think that's a good comeback because, you know, the temperament of a Jose is he will let him go. Like, so if he going in and Maul playing around, he will fight. Jose will fight, and he wants to fight. He wants that. I think he kind of relishing that rock'em sock'em. He want to stand there and bang. He don't want to have to move around, maybe because of legs, and he willing to stand there extreme. If Maul can put him on a highlight reel or dust him off in a valiant effort, maybe he can rekindle some spark back into his stock as he make his comeback. Because I'm thinking we're gonna want to see Maul and Andre. We're gonna want to see Maul and Bivol. We're gonna want to see all of this stuff mixed it up. This is just the tip of the iceberg, and I think that Jermell, I don't think he was really he wasn't really inside of the picture. I think they rewarded him with that opportunity, and he squandered it. Hold on real quick. Yeah. I think he squandered his opportunity, man, but I didn't get my money's worth, man. I just wanted to, you know, say that, hey, I'm real, man. I know what to say when I'm wrong. I was pulling for Mell because he really didn't have the support that he needed. You know what I'm saying? I thought he should get, you know what I'm saying? And now when the big fights come about and things happen and stuff get going, man, we can't knock the suits, man. That's what I was going to say, man. We can't argue with the suits, man, because somehow, some way, man, the suits and how they've been lining up everything, man, and how they've been moving, fights like that kind of make you be like, man, you can't even argue with their agenda no more. Daniel. Devin Haney versus Regis. Who you got? IMO, I think a lot of people sleeping on Regis, plus he is southpaw with some power. The trouble Haney. Yeah, I'm looking at it like, man, I kind of got Regis. I kind of got Regis because, you know, I do have him initially with a slight edge. But what's really shocking me is the confidence that Devin Haney has and actually picking. And he thinks that maybe he's seen some things that Zorilla was able to do. Maybe he's seen some things, or maybe he was told some things, you know what I'm saying, as far as sparring that happened with Regis and somebody else. But I think that Regis and how he's looking at this fight, the kind of confidence that he has about this fight, I think that I think he really wants to show and make a statement. I think this is the kind of fight that Regis needs because he is one of the most tough fighters in the game. And he took that fight with Josh Taylor, had his face looking like hamburger meat. He lost because he fell asleep in the middle round. He fell, and he had to take the steps coming back. You got to think about all the people that ducked him. T.O. didn't want none with Regis before the Josh Taylor. T.O. didn't want Regis. You know what I'm saying? Salute to T.O. for what he's been able to do and everything. I used to be I used to be big on T.O. You know what I'm saying? But he climbed the steps. Was it Jose Ramirez? Jose Ramirez ducked and dodged that fight. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of people that could have fought Regis that said nah for one reason or the other. You couldn't pay nobody to get in there. That's why you kept seeing the whole Adrian Broner conversation popped up. He was thinking that might be his money fight. You know what I'm saying? Because he was poised to have a good fight. You know what I'm saying? He was poised to have a big fight on deck. And I think some things kind of worked out where Devin, I don't really think he wants to blemish his record at 135. I think that it was already well known that he was going to go up to 140. He wants to establish himself in the division, so he decided that he gonna go for the head honcho at 140. And I can't knock it. A lot of people are wondering whether or not Devin Haney is going to bring his power. Naturally, he's going to have more strength. Maybe his gas tank. Maybe he won't have more strength, but maybe his endurance will be better. He'll be able to sustain some of that good work that he do in the beginning, and there won't be any taper off in the middle or the late rounds. Because there's a point in time where Dev kind of taper off, and then he'll bounce back in them last couple rounds. Will kind of save him a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he won't have that. You know, I'm in the vein of what you show me over and over again, and how the kind of fighter you are. That's what I expect from you. I don't expect a lot of power. I don't expect for it to be the kind of knockout guy. He's a stick and move. You know what I'm saying? Make you miss points, get his points. He might dig to the body, and if it's utterly there where he could just opposite, like really get rid of you, he gonna take a shot. But I don't expect like jarring power from him. You know what I'm saying? He's a technical fighter. He's gonna outpoint you, make you miss. You know what I'm saying? Make you move. You're gonna hit and escape. You know what I'm saying? Get in and out. You know what I'm saying? He can do that. And I think with Regis, he's like he comes and does pressure, but defensively he's very underrated. He is very honest because he did have a flash knockdown with Zarilla that wasn't called, even though he said, yeah, Zarilla got him. Zarilla was an awkward guy with a nice jab and some decent power. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say Devin is awkward. Devin is probably more technical. But he has some of those traits where he can stick you with that jab, even though Loma was able to out jab Devin Haney with shorter reach. This is going to be very interesting because a lot of people say that Dev likes cold, and they may be prepared for that. Devin might just come out and do like what he did, which was his saving grace and do that body work for the previous. Your body work, you understand that body work is everything. You gotta do that body work. You know what I'm saying? So that's gonna be a big key. Who can go to whose body better? And with this jab thing, the fact that Loma, even though he's a different fighter than Regis, when it comes down to actually landing, Regis know how to get in there. He's very crafty. He's kind of awkward, but he's very good at, you know what I'm saying? He can get you out of there. He has fight-changing power. Where if he land good, he shock you, he wobble you, he's gonna let his hands go. As soon as you get up, if you get back up off that 10 count, he's gonna come back in and he's gonna try to get rid of you. So the earlier he smell blood, I think the earlier he can hurt Devin, the better off his shots is. But if you're gonna sit back and he fall asleep in the middle round, you know that the judges are gonna tend to lean towards Devin Haney. You know that. And that performance with Loma, Loma took some rounds off. I think that Regis is going to have to be very conditioned. He's not going to be able to take any rounds off. He's going to have to be active, and when he sees a shot, he's going to have to be able to take it. My guy, GXTV, I'm running late, but I'm in the building. What's good, body work? What's good, GXTV, man? I'm just here eating my crow, man. And I would love to hear your feedback on this, man. I would love, I'm eating my crow, man. I was pulling for Mell, but I did not pull for the Mell light version. I didn't pull for the Mell that didn't come with his combination. You know what I'm saying? With his punching, his offense. That's his offense in a locker room somewhere. I'm like, man, like nobody thought that you would be able to beat Canelo on the back foot running around like Jermell Rigondeaux. We knew that you would have to come forward, apply some pressure, take your shots, be opportunistic, make Canelo reset. When he come in crossing his feet with his hands down, put that stick out in his face. You know what I'm saying? What'd you say? Mell got paid and got ghost. Yeah, that's what it's looking like, man. It looked like he came. That's what Cookie Monster was saying. It looked like he came and grabbed the bag. He grabbed the Happy Meal bag, you know what I'm saying, and dipped out. So I was shocked. Let me hit my man, Daniel. I Tank don't want to fight any of these. He died. Clearly ducked Loma. Plus he don't want to fight Tio, Haney, or gladly fought Pitbull, Hector, and Barrios. People got him in pound for pound. I think, man, I look at Tank in a couple different ways. I would say yes, Tank did miss a couple errors in boxing. I do think that you could say he missed the Lomachenko error because Lomachenko is not what he used to be. You know what I'm saying? He already got 3 blemishes on his record. You can probably tag that. And a lot of people say that the man Ortiz really won. So it's like the kind of credit he'll get at this stage. It's different than Devin Haney, because when Devin Haney fought him, that was one of Devin Haney's childhood heroes. That's like being in there, being able to fight a guy that you looked up to when you were younger, because the age difference, he was able to beat him. I think that when it comes down to Teofimo Lopez, I think at a point in time, I don't think he was eager to see Tank. I think he was still filling himself out. If you look back, there were times when he had plans on fighting Josh Taylor. He was talking about Josh Taylor when people were like, oh yeah, right. It was a long time. They was like, oh man, every time he would say that. So he already had plans. He was never Bob's favorite. So at the time when Loma and Tank really should have fought, I don't know if Floyd was. I think Floyd used to use that and used to weaponize that fight against Tank. And I don't really think that early on, like when he was like 19, I don't really think that fight really happened. And I'm not going to say that he don't want to fight these guys. I'm going to say that the powers that be, who dictate everything and do the numbers, know that regardless how much us as fans want to see that fight, they're not going to foot the bill and foot the bag to make one of these other fighters rich. You know what I'm saying? They're just not going to do it until they prove to that reality. I said as a Tank fan, like, what can you do? It's like, you're going to come out and yell, we want taking this person all day, every day. And like I was just saying, fights like this, the fight that we just saw last night, says that we can't argue with pursuits. EXTV. Crawford hurts Mell bad in the fight, and I'm not a Bud fan. If you come out and be like, if you come out and with that, I'm grateful to share the ring with you, definitely. Bud is a bad man when he let them hands go. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? I don't go as hard as some of his OnlyFans, but that was an anomaly last night what we saw in Jermell. I'm gonna try to say it like that, man. I'm not saving face. I'm here to eat my crow. I'm here to stand on what I was saying that he had a shot. Not with your offense in the locker room, though. Those guys are big enough right now to take the fight. They are all you. They are all game. Yeah, I mean those fights are big enough. It's just whether or not, like, how much of it. I don't know, man. I've been fighting that battle. I want to see it. It should have been Tank and Devin. It should have been Tank and Shakur. You know what I'm saying? It should have been Shakur and Devin. Definitely Shakur and Frank. And then we got Frank and De Los Santos. It's like, now we got to let it pan out, man. It's a lot of pressure, man. I want to see Tank fight them dude. I want him to get that monkey off his back. I want him to, you know what I'm saying? I do know that Mario Barrios win is aging very well for Tank. You know what I'm saying? They try to discredit, some of the wins and some of the victories. For me, I've kind of given up trying to play the game where I try to anticipate the thinking why it can't. The only thing I can see is the numbers. I'm not backing it up. I'm not justifying. I'm just saying that they're looking at these numbers, and even when I listen to Leonard, you said they are all young. But I got you. But even when I listen to Leonard, right? When I listen to Leonard and how he talk about how Canelo Alvarez was managed and everything, and how he been maneuvered, says, man, the way they moved around and what they were able to do with him, like, he admired. So you got to look at, like, every now and then we got to take our hats off and put on the big wig cap, right? And we got to start thinking like how the big wig. Once you do that, you won't be as frustrated. It sucks as a fan. It sucks as a fan. We want to see people get out there and, you know what I'm saying, beat the snot out of each other like every night. We want to see it on Friday night. We want to see it on Saturday night. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we get lucky and something come on in the middle of the week, we want to see it. But we want to see the creme de la creme, right? It's just some things, and it's just some plans. There are best laid plans. Even if you go back and you think about everything Jermell told us about this fight, when everybody thought it was Maul and Canelo, and everybody thought that Jermell come out and say, oh man, I've been to about this fight. I've
I've been getting ready for this fight. I've been putting on the weight and all this. So they have best laid plans. And one of the things we can't do is avoid the fact that there are plans already made and things that's in order that, and as a fan, there's barely anything we can do to kind of disrupt. EXTV says it ain't time for Tank to fight those other guys. Haney is undisputed but has a small fan base. Shakur is good, and the same goes for him. Those fights should rival Floyd and cover pay-per-view numbers when they fight. That's a good point. And that's what I'm saying. That's when you're looking at it from the Suits perspective. You know, when you look at it from the Suits perspective, that's how you look at it. But we've seen how over marination have come around and bit certain fighters in the tail right now. You know what I'm saying? If we look at how much that fight happened, it was marinated with Bud and, and Spence. In the grand scheme of things, man, it didn't age well. It kind of looked like initially it didn't age well for Spence. And then sometimes we flat out just don't ever get to see it because one fighter is losing his luster. And if you look at what Bud just came out and said after seeing Jermell had that performance he just had, it's like he said, I'm over it now. And now it's almost like he gonna put Mell back in a position where he's gonna be defending his mandatories or the biggest bag available, and if Bud say no, what fight is that? He might be coming right back around and seeing Tim Tszyu over in Australia and get that Australian bag. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Yeah, so timing. You bring up a good point, GXTV. Timing, man. It's time, man, for me. Because there's been a lot of utterances that Tank he's not gonna be fighting for that long. Like I'm thinking he's seeing how the sport of boxing is. He's seeing the level of respect, disrespect. He's looking at the landscape and seeing what's going on. I think he want to get he want to get like 3 big fights. You know what I'm saying? That's what the word on the street is. He want to get those marquee fights and be out. You know what I'm saying? So how much time do we have to wait for them? They're not ready number wise and what Tank brings to the table. But as far as the Suits go, I'm almost like the Suits almost kind of got me like, man, I don't know what to say because the Suits be come out and saying certain things and knowing certain things, and so far this year going against the Suits, it don't look that good. Now you aren't raw. I'm a huge Spence fan, but I feel he should not rematch Bud. Bud's style is all wrong for Spence, and maybe he needs to retire. I can't say that, man. I seen Manny Pacquiao get his pillow fluff. He was out before he hit the camera. I mean, we've seen a lot of people take brutal. I mean, Mario Barrios got stopped. Look at what he came out and did to Oogie. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm not one to make excuses. Earl wasn't one to make excuses, but the man had a rematch contract, and Earl is just that type. That's what fans love about Earl. The fact that he's just a dog, like long haul career. He can't go in there and suffer that kind of damage that he suffered going into that last fight. He can't do that. He can't do that. But he had a rematch, and if they can see eye to eye on all that. The Suits, I believe. The Suits probably believe he should go ahead and go around and forge another path and do it another way. That's what the Suits believe. But Earl say he got a rematch, and Earl been kind of quiet, man, which is another thing that's not quite so Earl. Even though Earl's pretty much been known to actually come out and state what's going on, or tweet, or say something to really let his fans know what's going on, man. But he do need to come out and let everybody know what's going on with him. XTV, Tank vs. T.O. was bigger than the Shakur fight. That's Tank's mega fight. Yeah. That T.O. fight is pretty big. Especially with T.O. having the confidence. You know what I'm saying? You got the Honduran fan base. You got the people that have graduated, because Tank has graduated to being where just as many people want to see him lose as the ones that want to see him win. You know what I'm saying? So you'll have that fight, because of the clash, because of all the trash talk, and I know they're gonna highlight the fact that T.O. came on and said that man has some DSLs. You know what I'm saying? When and that's when T.O. kind of lost me. I said, man, like, see now you know, because I don't want that divide. I don't want that cultural divide like that, because it's like I was supporting T.O. and I'm just like, you came out and you said a lot of, like, how am I supporting you and promoting you, but you come out saying stuff about people that look like me? It's like, how do I look supporting you? So that's why I'm like, man, I don't want to go to a fight. That's probably a fight, especially if it's at the Barclays, if it's here in Baltimore, if it's at the MGM. I'm there. I'm gonna go to that one if they fight. But I think the way T.O. was trying to promote it, you know what I'm saying, kind of, you know, I didn't like the way he was going with that. You know what I'm saying? I think with him saying that DSL, it wasn't really not that many response to that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it was some of the antics that T.O. was using to self-promote, but I think that kind of turned off a lot of fans, man. T.O. knocked off the top dog. Yeah, T.O., I say his resume. See, I'm one of them ones that was giving him credit the whole time. Like the whole Devin Haney saga and everything going on at 135. I was documenting everything, and I've just now come around to saying Devin is finally doing something I wanted to. I had to give him respect for getting undisputed and then going to go get Regis. But I've been documenting like the treatment T.O. was getting when he was down there, when he went and got Comey and got the belt and got something that Loma actually wanted, actually, you know what I'm saying, jumped the line. That was chess at that point in time. He thought he was playing chess with Bob when he made that move. You know what I'm saying? Started conspiring with Cambosos to get that thing on person's bid. You see how that panned out. But when you look at his resume, the people that he beat, and he actually gets up for those big fights. When it's a big name up ahead of him, somebody you can really get up for, T.O. get up for those fights. T.O. would actually get up for Tank. And that'll be something where people, you know what I'm saying, you would have to think he got Barrio, Tank got Pitbull, Tank got Broly. You know what I'm saying? He got Hector. But getting a T.O., you gotta think. T.O. had already beaten him. T.O. had took the strap from Comey. He took the straps from Loma. He took the strap from Taylor. That would be a good fight. I was calling that TNT. And you say, GX, say, I feel that as far as the DSL. Like, yeah, that's like, you know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, as boxer, you can say what you want, but it's like, man, you got to get in the ring with that man. You know what I'm saying? Was that a ploy to get him in the ring? If so, that might have been a good gesture. You got those numbers right. I don't care about the numbers. As a fan, I don't care. But if I can get those numbers right, everybody can eat, I would want to go to that fight. That's blockbuster. That's primetime TV. GX TV say more reasons for Tank beating his ass. Yeah. That's motivation, man. I mean, the latest thing we seen was Tank saying he wants to step away and get his personal life together. You know what I'm saying? I seen a video of another guy that I respect. He always come out with solid information. He said, man, this man got a service, community service, and he can't do it with children that have anything to do with boxing and stuff like that. This man broke it down, man. The dude Crown Jewel, he broke it down. He had a little video where he broke it down, and that's real, man. So I mean, I was like, man, Tank at 4 twice this year. I know a lot of people didn't want Cruz, even though that was the seed. A lot of people sold, overhyping that fight in favor of Cruz and all the things that they said. It's like, okay, so now when the suits heard you, because he got that fan base that they put it back on, just be content with what we're getting. And that's the fact that, yeah, the suits heard you, and now they believe that, you know what I'm saying, yeah, y'all really want to see it. So they was putting it up. But haven't heard anything about that. You know what I'm saying? We know Tank. I think Tank and T.O., that sounds like the best. That sounds the best. That's the best available fight right now. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it'll be like, all right, I'm going to come out and take this fight, and in preparation for that fight, the same way he took Hector, you know, and before with Ryan being on deck, they're looking at doing something like that. I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure. Who knows? What do y'all think about this Shakur fight in De La Santos? What y'all think about that Shakur and De La Santos? Put the link out here, man. Putting the link out there, man. Anybody want to hop in and, you know what I'm saying, talk some boxing? You know what I'm saying? Enlighten me. I don't do yes men over here. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like you gotta agree with everything I say. I ain't gonna mute you and do nothing. GXT. Salute to GXTV for the super sticker, man. I appreciate that, man. Good, thanks for supporting, bro. It means a lot, man. Yeah, I don't do yes men over here, man. So you know, I'm putting the link out there in the chat. So if you want to hop on, man, talk your boxing. You know what I'm saying? Or you something that you know you got on your mind about boxing. Where is the sport of boxing going right now? It seems like it's getting real commercial right now, man. It seems like it's getting more and more to the point where it's a big show. And that final product, are we satisfied? Have we been getting satisfied with these big fights? You know, think about the two big fights. We had the Spence and Bud, and now we had this Canelo and Mell. And what do y'all think? GXTV, Shakur Washington by the 8. Wow. I hope so. I mean, I hope they come to bring it, man, because De La Santos, he is like a little grenade, man. I think he's been studying that, man. Like, it's different when you over there and you ain't got nothing to eat, man, and you looking at them big bright lights, and just like in them gangster movies, doing them gangster movies when you ambitious, you see your eye on the top, you want to get to the top, you willing to, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of different, man. You know what I'm saying? I hope Shakur don't take this challenge lightly. I don't know where boxing is headed, man. I know that I try to do boxing right by uplifting them, right? When I'm having an argument about boxing, I try to take everything into consideration. GXTV, Benavidez, Andre for fight. Yeah, Benavidez, an old school style fighter. You got him beating Boo Boo? I try to take everything in consideration. You know, I have my favorites and this and that. I can still say, oh man, that's not a good look. Or I wish you wouldn't have, or I wish you wouldn't have said that. But I try to do it respectfully. Then I also try to understand how the business goes. That's why I don't allow myself to get into certain arguments about it, because it's like we're not including everything. It's easy to get emotional. If you want to stick to just X's and O's, we can talk all day about which style beats this style, or you know, evidence as to how this person can beat that. But when you start throwing in politics, so many people want to talk politics around boxing, but it's their kind of politics. Like they want to omit certain things. They just want to like bandwagon and just ride. And I'm not like that. I look for facts that don't actually support my argument, so I can answer or be aware of them. I don't know why that unicorn on my super. I ain't see no you. I ain't see no you. Nah, it's all red up here. I don't see no unicorn, bro. It's just I don't know, man. I don't really see it, but I appreciate that, man. But yeah, man. I don't know where boxing is headed at, man. It makes me nervous, man. boxing makes me nervous a little bit because a lot of it's starting to seem orchestrated. And what I was saying, where they was these best laid plans that was going on. Like you start looking at some of the moves and some of the setups and things like that, how fights are not being made, and this bigger bag. I think this bigger bag syndrome. Now you cannot be boxers if they get hit in the head for a living. But I said it was a slippery slope when you allow certain fighters to do one thing to go get a bigger bag, and then when another fighter say, hey, I wanted a bigger bag, or I needed a bigger bag, now that's not acceptable. It's like we kind of pick and choose when that's acceptable, depending on what fighters you rock with. We don't really look at the long history, and we don't look at the big picture as it relates to the sport of boxing overall. So, you know, boxing is making me nervous. It's making me nervous, man. He says Benavidez has been active. He might be awake fully at 168 and Andre 35, 33 years old. Yes, that's what I spoke to. I said, man, I would have loved for Boo to be, a little bit more active. You know what I'm saying? Because that could show up. That's one of them things we starting to see more and more now, man. You've been having 12 months, 17 months, 15 months, all that. I mean, of course, Andre fought at the beginning of the year against Demond. But before that, you know what I'm saying, there was injury and, whatever reason he couldn't fight before. That could, and Benavidez has been active. Benavidez has been active. I can't give him that. And I think he's getting better, man. I used to be hard on Benavidez, man. It was to the point where I do a video on Benavidez, man, and have some film in there with it. They would always copyright claim over. They would ban me. That's why I stopped doing all the ones. I stopped doing a lot of videos with a lot of the boxers. The boxers didn't like, you know what I'm saying, the videos, and I would get copyright strikes. Like that. You know what I'm saying? But Benavidez, especially with Plant win, Benavidez has grown on me. GXTV, the way he hurt Plant earned my respect. Yes. Yeah. That victory over Plant did a lot for me because I was still like, I don't believe, man, Caleb Plant footwork. He was in there with Canelo, so he felt the punches. He ain't going to just fold like he did the last time and all this. Benavidez stayed true, man. That's why I keep saying about Benavidez. I think that his punches hurt a lot more than what they look like. That level of activity. And the fact that he just got a motor. Like that dude got a high motor, man. It's a high volume of punches. Everything might not be technically sound as far as how he's throwing them, but he can he know how to change up the velocity on his punches. And I think that those punches, they get so irritable. Like they, when they hitting you, you like, oh, like by the time that the fight going, you like, oh, did he touch me there? Did he, you know what I'm saying? You could be like, and he wear you down. And if you ain't got enough for him to respect, he'll mow you down. So that Caleb Plant win did boost my confidence in Benavidez. I still say Andre has a shot, but if I had to give the edge right now, given that inactivity, because we seeing what inactivity is doing. We can't deny in these recent fights, we've been seeing what inactivity been doing from Fulton to Spence to Jermell. Like, you know what I'm saying? We got Mell inactive. Andre hasn't been as active. Inactivity, man. For a boxer, man, you got to get that car out the garage and take some laps around the track. Even if you ain't going to the biggest, baddest track. GXTV says his hands fast. Canelo knows what he has on his hands in that fight. Yeah. I think that's what people are going to be talking for now, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? And I think the talented Mr. David Morrell, he will continue to be the boogeyman. And I think that they only letting that man get better. I think that's going to be like David Benavidez. Remember how they say, oh man, you better get Benavidez now, but the talented Mr. David Morrell, the one who said outside the ring, I expect everything and everybody. But inside the ring, I don't respect nothing, man. You know what I'm saying? He got the hardest slogan in boxing. That dude been fighting Canelo's mandatories since 2021. So they keep this man got to stay active now. He need to keep people getting in that ring. But the longer they give that man, the longer they don't, you know what I'm saying, go see that man, hey, the harder it's going to be for him as he progress, man, because that dude is very dangerous. I call him the talented Mr. David McGrail. He's been up there in Minnesota. Minnesota. Vaccine activity is the main reason Earl got rolled. Yeah. That, I think, man, I'm just going to infer. This is me personally, as a Earl fan. I think him losing his shirt in that thing, man. I think that hurt, man. I think that kind of hurt, man. I think him losing his shirt, him being inactive in the chess game, man. And I said beforehand, I had got on and I did a show, a video. I called it Ghost Protocol about Bud, how, you know, when he went to go get that Avenesian fight. And I said, man, as an Earl fan, I hated it. As a Bud fan, I said, that's genius. Because Earl, them two guys, man, two of the most stubborn boxers in the world. And I think Bud played on that stubbornness. Like, oh, okay, you gonna stand there, you ain't gonna go do that. All right, we'll see. Let me go get this bag and left him standing there. And Earl was so stubborn, he didn't want to go get Thurman. In hindsight now, it's like, man, because they were gonna try to roast Earl because he said he'd never fight Keith. You know what I'm saying? But in hindsight now, would it have been better for him to go ahead and get knock off that rough, even in the tough victory, going into a Bud fight? But him staying back and saying, nah, I ain't gonna, you know what I'm saying, I'm not gonna go get this, I'm not gonna go do that. That's the only fight I want. I'm not gonna risk this. That's awesome. That's awesome. And all the concessions and the coin toss coming out, being caught, like coming out first and being announced. Was he announced first? Like, he just got the raw deal on a lot of things, man. But the main thing was like not being in that ring. Not being in that ring hurt. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate y'all, man, for coming in, man. Hit the like button, man. If you just, you know, hit the like button, man. If I was able to entertain at all, you know what I'm saying? If you found anything to be entertaining, if you can appreciate me eating my crow, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, hit the like button for your boy, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no agenda when I come on here. I just like to talk about boxing, man, and I love the sport. So, you know what I'm saying? This is just an alternative, you know what I'm saying, opinion, everything. So this is more of a facts-based content channel, you know what I'm saying? We don't too much like opinion-based over here, so I try to, like, you know, use brass tacks to try to, like, put everything together according to facts, you know what I'm saying? I don't just float with everything, man, but I let you get yours off. I let people talk. I listen. I respond. GXTV back in the building again. You say if Earl would have fought Thurman for Bud, it would have been close. Yeah. And Keith, that's what I was saying. The problem with Keith, man, like after the Barrios fight, if he'd have been all right if he'd have just stayed active. But he was saying, you know, I don't know who Boots was. Remember, he was saying he didn't know who Boots was, and I'm like, Keith, you don't know who Boots is? You don't know who this guy is right here? Stop it, guys. It's just like you can't want the bag and want to fight the bag, but being inactive, you don't want to fight the young boys. And he was just in that age range, like I said, with Kell Brook, Amir Khan, Sean, Bud, Danny, you know, all them guys, man, where they was considering retiring. Either they either did return or they was like looking like how much longer I'm gonna do this. He was in that same group. I think Keith got caught up in having just enough money to where he all right, and the opportunity to be able to go out and call fights still there, and not being like hungry no more. And then having a family. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of hard to go out there and get hit in the head when you play with your baby. You know, lay up wrestlers, you know what I'm saying, and watch the kids running around. You know what I'm saying? It kind of get hard to be like, hey, let me get in here and just get hit in the head with this. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, let me see. I know we're gonna talk about that Lubin decision, right? I won on his brother. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, GX. I spoke on it, man. I'll go over it again though, but yeah, I had it 112. I had it 112. I had my scorecards up here and everything. I had it 112, 112 to 116. You know what I'm saying? I had made a note right here. 91 total punches landed by Lubin. I had gave Lubin the first, the third, the 9th, and the 12th. First, third, 9th, and 12th. Other than that, he got outworked. I do think the commentators at point in times, because they were so infatuated by Jesus Ramos, and they were talking about baseball, I think at the time, that they were missing out some of the key things that Lubin was able to do, and Jesus wasn't landing everything. And I hated the fact that they kept talking about every time Lubin touched the rope. Like, it's okay to touch the rope. It's okay to touch the rope, but every time he got nowhere, everyone, they go Lubin up there on the ropes again. It's like, you can touch. That was a small ring. That's what I looked at again. That was a very small ring. When you look at that ring, we got a question. Go back and do your homework and look up what was the size of that ring that they put in last night. That was a small ring. He kept making They kept making a big deal about every time Lubin would be backed up and he would touch the corner. You know what I'm saying? It was like, man, it's like, stop bringing, like, y'all don't got any other talking point. Now, it was times when Ramos got in there, but he smothered himself. He would do some good body. He'd stab. You know what I'm saying? He might back up and get that uppercut off. You know what I'm saying? But every time he had Lubin on the ropes, didn't mean that he was like really doing damage. And that's, you know, they gotta change up some of their talking points. That sounds right. And then King Sukuna, what you mean? King Sukuna said that usually mean the other guys control the fight. Yeah, and that's what I had. Like most of my notes, I'm telling you, I take notes on all the fights. That's how I do all my fights. I take notes. That's why I know, like, you can't go back and tell me, and this is the Mario Barrios. Look, this is the Mario Barrios to Ugas fight. That's my notes and my scoring. This is the Lubin. This is the Lubin and Ramos fight. This is my notes and my scoring. And in this fight, man, Jesus Ramos, man, 25 to 78 body shots. 29% to 17% total. You know what I'm saying? He outworked Lubin, but you know, he took some rounds off. But Jesus Ramos pressed the action. I think some of them rounds at the beginning, they were underappreciated what Lubin was actually able to do, because he was being technical and disciplined. The GXTV, I felt bad for him because he's young and hungry, and all it stopped tremendously. That's what I said. I said, man, I think that they looked at it like this. This is how they got him. They say, look, Ramos he's young, and it was a decision loss by the judges. Really didn't take that much punishment. And I think that they're trying to set a precedent. Y'all gotta look at this. You gotta set a precedent. Look at when Loma and Devin went. Now, if Loma wouldn't have took that was last, because Loma took a round or two off. If he wouldn't have did that, they used that as impetus to say, hey, no, numbers wise, statistically, he outlanded Devin. Devin outlanded him in body shots, 49 to 9. That was his saving grace. But in total punches, jabs, and power punches, he outlanded Devin, but he took rounds off. Jesus Ramos outworked and outlanded Lubin, but he took rounds off. He took the last quarter of the fight off. Argue and say he took those rounds off, but he might have been thinking that he was winning the handily. I had him winning handily. I had him 112 to 116. It's like the middle judge, except for that middle judge had 116, 112. Lubin. They had it 115, 113, 116, 112, and 117, 111. In favor of Lubin. I had it 112, 116 in favor of Ramos. And I got the notes in the scoring going right down the line as to how I came up with that. You know what I'm saying? So but Ramos, my man King Tuna says I didn't watch it from start to finish, so I don't know. Yeah, I did. I watched it. I watched everything from start to finish. But yeah, last rounds matter more. Yeah, you gotta leave that last impacting, because I said earlier in this live, I said that a lot of time when you change your style, like when you go from pressing and pressing the action and doing everything to where you resort to doing something else, like they can reason that maybe he hit him hard, or maybe he's starting to finally feel the punch. They can reason and interject whatever they want as to how they can view that score. You can't, man, on it. You got to come on in the championship now. You can't check out. It's hard to go by punches counted because the punch advantage could be in 1-10-9 round. Yeah, and then that's a good point, GXTV, because in that even in that Devin Loma fight, that's how it was. Some of those rounds was where in that one round is where Loma created all of that, the difference in it. But if you look at overall fight, it was a pretty close fight where Devin dominated in the rounds where he utterly dominated. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, all those punches can be in one round. Loma did that, mainly in that 10th. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta finish strong in these fights. That's a very good point, though. That's a very good point. By the time you're in the 10th, the first round might as well not even happen. Yeah, you gotta leave a lasting impression on these judges. You can't let up. I know the judges are supposed to score round by round. It always seems like the last 2 rounds almost determine the fight. That's why I said that by the time the round is over, they should have to submit that score, and boom, that's etched in stone. After each one of them rounds, they should have to submit it, and then after the final round, they get to deliberate. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think. You know, because you can doctor up a fight. Let's see. Almost always says King Sakuna, and then GXT TV says facts King Sakuna. Yeah, that's how it's been going, man. They can, they can rob you. That's why I say, man, people be like, oh man, you just like the knockouts. It's like, no, I like the caliber fighter that can be deemed as master class. They might not be perfect, but they have a skill set that's very hard to beat. They pretty much defensively sound, but they will go and get you out of there. Like if you don't supposed to be in there with them, they have the ability to get you out of there. And it's not because I just want to see somebody get knocked out all the time. It's like, no, it's like, imagine putting in all this hard work, and we've seen it happen over Michael Fox and Gabriel Mestre. We've seen Constantino and Valdez. We've seen Catterall and Josh Taylor. We've seen a lot of these things happen in these last couple of years to where it's like, we'll fight where they watching. You can't leave it up to the judges. Judges should have a press conference. And they gotta have that teller. They almost like in the NFL, how they got somebody in New York overwatching, like they got somebody totally remote. They should have somebody totally remote that can add on and say, like, nah, hold on, what you got here, what you got there, to have some checks and balances. It's rigged for sure, too much money not to be. There you go. That's where I was trying to get to, King. And I was like, that's that question, man. I was asking when I said, man, where is boxing headed, man? Where everything that we're seeing right now, where is boxing headed? Because it's starting to be real convenient to where, you know how at the end of the fight when they be waiting and they be deliberating, I'm like, what are y'all deliberating on? You know what I'm saying? What are we deliberating on? How you do this? How you can do this? How you can fudge this? How you can smudge that? You know what I'm saying? It's starting to be almost like predictable as to how they can get away with calling. Oh, that's how they. Because remember, hey, I'm gonna ask King and I'm gonna ask GXTV when that fight with Speedy Rashidi Ellis and Romain Villa. That's the prime example where you can argue because of the drop at the end. You can push a strong argument that if that fight went any longer, he was definitely going to get Speedy out of there. But if the way I scored that fight, round by round and everything, even with those knockdowns at the end, I couldn't justify a winning verdict. But they were able to justify on the scorecard by those last rounds. And I think that's how we didn't get a Rashidi in a boot. You know what I'm saying? That's the fight. And I got those just like I got all these fights I score and I watch. Just so I have it. I don't just be shooting from the hip. And I sit there and I watch and I annotate exactly what I saw. I be listening to, sometimes I be like, man, I don't know how bad I'm doing because the way the commentators commentating this fight, and then every now and again they go to Farhood and we'll be locked in that match up. With this Lubin fight, I was locked up with what they had, 112 to 116. I just had almost. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted Lubin to win because I like Coach Kevin Cunningham. He's a disciplinarian. And then I think that we need soldiers like Lubin who want to get in there and do it. But as far as the verdict, I didn't agree with the verdict. Last week, think about last week. Think about when we seen McCaskill and Sandy Ryan. I was pulling for McCaskill, but what they did to Sandy Ryan was wrong. I was pulling for McCaskill to win. I want her, you know what I'm saying, Chicago, you know what I'm saying, trying to represent for her and her husband, you know what I'm saying, and what they bring to the table, but I didn't have her winning that fight. Yeah, they made that a draw, and I'm like, everybody was like, and just like Jesus Ramos, she handled it like a soldier. She handled it like a soldier. King said, hell yeah, and then King Speedy won the whole fight. That's how I had it. Those knockdowns didn't look good at the end, but I couldn't justify Rashidi. I mean, I couldn't justify Vila winning. Rashidi backed out straight line and got caught in the chin. Before then, he was good. Yup. That was a matter of fatigue. And again, what's the subject of the day today? Inactivity. You know, it's a theory out there that he was over there on Golden Boy, and he basically was kind of like how Zone with Andre basically like tucked him away, like brought him over there saying you're gonna get this and you gonna get that, but really bringing you over there to tuck him away. I think they tucked Rashidi away, and then activity reared this little ugly head in that little man Philip. You're not in there getting those rounds and rounds and rounds like on a regular basis. Like I think it's like the time is taking for Rashidi to get back in there again. So the same thing will happen. You got to get in there and keep that rust off, that experience like that. You know what I'm saying? It's different. And that showed his head up in that fight. But he outboxed the other dude the whole fight. He did. He was outboxing. That's why I said, like, when it came down to Vila and Boots, I really didn't want to see Vila and Boots. Even though I salute Boots for what he was able to do. I wanted to see Speedy and Boots. Because right now Boots is active. He stay active. He looking like, you know what I'm saying, like, as far as where he's at, as far as what he's been able to do, his number of victories, the threat that he present, and him knocking right on that door on that level. You know what I'm saying? To get those belts, he's right there. I wonder what people think about him. GXTV say black fighters cannot have it all. You all look at different. If you look at how Regis is treated, and now granted, he hasn't been as active as he could have been because he's been getting ducked. But then when you look at how Keith Thurman got treated after that one loss against Pacquiao, you know what I'm saying? But then he was inactive because of his own reasonings. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is now. Like now, it's like once you damage goods, you damage goods once you get a blemish on your record, and that's a bittersweet. Speedy will be good. Still has one overall. Yeah, but when you think we want to see him again, when we gonna see him again? The loss starting to matter a lot less. You're seeing a lot less. I don't know, man. Like this new era, GXTV, Jermell, Canelo, like nothing happened. Yeah, but when they take a loss, when Lomo and Canelo take a loss, they act like it never happened. But let's go back to this right here. What King Spooner said. Losses are starting to matter a lot less. That's debatable. That's debatable. Right now with the young guys, man, they like, I'm not gonna risk that. If I lose, they gonna see I ain't worth it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just like with this Frank thing, man. Like, yeah, I'm kind of calling it that too. I'm calling it. I'm saying, man, I don't know, man. I think it's getting even more critical now, man. I can see them fighting Boots soon, maybe next. I think they were talking about Boots and Heath. You know what I'm saying? What do y'all think? I mean, Barrios and Boots. That might be. I want to see Stanionis and Boots, man. Why can't we see Stanionis and Boots? And then that's another thing where I don't know if I want to see that. That's what I wanted to see. But I want Stanionis to be active because again, this is another inactive guy getting ready if he were to get in there. But who knows? Let me see. Being called a duck is better than 30-1. Hey, that might be the gospel, GX. Hey, that might be the gospel right there, man. That might be the gospel. Look at God. He's way bigger now after a time. I would say we gotta see. I'm gonna tell you why. That pay-per-view with Hellenius didn't do that well. So I think it was kind of like a rude awakening for some of that money for some of them fights after that pay-per-view with Hellenius, and he knocked him out in the first round, and the numbers weren't that good. So I think it's more as the legend of Fury grows. I think that makes the fact that that's the only guy that was able to really like put it on Wilder like that. Controversy, scandal, whatever you want to tie into it, you know what I'm saying? However you put that whole situation, I try to stay away from that. But the fact that Fury's legend is growing so much, I think that's making it a little bit better for Wilder's resume. Since he was the only one that actually made Wilder look like that. And so now you get to grow, like, now that reputation as to, oh man, the only man that ever do that was this. We got a lot of that going on, but I remember when I was calling for Ruiz and Wilder, I was saying that'd be the perfect speed versus power. Everybody said, oh man, no. Some time went by. WBC tried to order it, I believe. WBC tried to order it, I think. I had to go back to my video. I was on it. I fell out of love with that fight because it was like dragging his feet, you know what I'm saying, and getting made. You just have to make the fight people want to see, put on those legendary type of performance. And let's be honest, King Sukuna, fighters are demanding a lot more. Fighters asking price now is like, I don't even know. This is not for the sake of argument. This is not for the sake of argument. This is not to hash open anything. But what do y'all think about that Frank Martin move? Like how do y'all see that move? Don't compare it to nothing else. I'm just talking about Shakur and Frank, and that fight not happening. What did y'all think about that? Like, don't compare the two to no other situation, no other contract. But in that situation, what was allegedly on the table and what it was for a vacant and this amount of money with a name. Both of them would be good names at this point for each other. What do y'all think about that situation? And that'll tell you, because I think fighters ask, and who are we because they get hit in his? I think fighters ask are going up where it's like, no, I want this, this, and that, and I'll be justified. And they'll only be like praised if their next move is their best move. Right now, it's like, man, you're going to have a pretty good next move. You just can't do what Teofimo did, where your accomplishments are more known than your name. Yeah. And part of that, in my opinion, part of that was that relationship that him and Bob had wasn't a good one. Wasn't a good relationship. That just go to show you can have all those accolades because I ain't gonna lie, man. Teofimo, he got a good resume, man, and he's done some things, man. And he's never really gotten that payday that he really deserved for what he was able to accomplish. I think Devin is getting that kind of stuff. Like compared, like if you measure apples to apples and oranges to oranges, and without any bias, you look at these names on this side and this level and at this time when they fought and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like one should be getting just as much money, if not way more money than the other. That's just me. Based on resumes, not color, heritage, you know, who brushed their teeth with Colgate. You know, Martin knows Shakur is the real deal. Martin knows Shakur the real deal, says King Kuna. They had more to do with Earl and Bud than Frank and Shakur. Can't lose the little bro too. That's what I was getting at. That's why I kept saying let's divide it. I think that a lot of people were inferring and extrapolating and projecting one situation to the other when it came down to them, man. And it was kind of, that's where that went. I think he should have just went through with it. All he had to do is give for a good fight, and he'll get a lot. That's what I said. And me, I'm like, man, because I can't tell. I've never made $1 million. But I can't tell a fighter what to take. But I said, man, and this is my whole thing. I believe that fighting for that vacant might be the best thing for the division as far as restoring order. With all this fight one time and get all of these belts, like depending on who you are and what cachet you get, you're not gonna get credit. Oh, well, you only fought this person for that. So I think that going for that fight, that belt, them two names fighting for that belt, you getting $1 million. You know what I'm saying? You getting the opportunity, and even if you didn't win, but you got a shot. Frank showed that he can make adjustments and all that. You know what I'm saying? Unless you pull what we seen last night, where you don't let your hands go. But Frank let his hands go. He got some body work. He's compact in the fight and actually run. So I thought he should have took it, man. I think he should have took it. I think that's the opportunity that was missed. You see, it ain't take long. De La Santos was like, you know what I'm saying? I'll have it. I'll have that fight. Yeah, T.O. did too much too quick when he opened it up for the young guys to fight each other. And it's the perception versus reality, because a lot of people say, oh man, T.O. duck, he had to get up out of 35 and this and that. But him and Devin and them boys, all them boys around the same age, and he was growing too, but he decided to move up. Devin was rewarded for staying around for taking that fight and getting undisputed, but then weight was always an issue there too. So once again, how your reputation precedes you is going to be determined upon how people look at that. People look at the facts and the age group and how this is like, oh man, like no, he can brand. Okay, so now that the heat is on and we was about to get the criminal 35, is Devin running for going to 140? Like, no, because he's going to go see Regis. You can argue weight-wise, running weight-wise. If Earl would have just said, nah, I'm good at 47, I can only do 54. You know what I'm saying? Bump undisputed. Well, he'd have been running, because the outcome of what happened in that fight leave a lot of questions. It's all about your reputation, man, how people perceive you and what voices you have behind you to kind of put out the theme song to your career. Because depending on who got the loudest voice, especially out here on YouTube, that's like wildfire, man. And a lot of people will run with it. They don't really do their homework. They don't scrutinize. They don't sit down and be like, all right, they don't read no articles. They don't look at nothing. They just tune into somebody and like, oh, I like what he said. And then they raw off and running. It's like, no, you got to do your homework. Look at Cruz. He's always somewhere in the conversation. Yeah. Yeah. And his perception is looking different. People say, well, no, he right there. He can knock on the door and get back to Tank. And he got a right to do this. It's like, he act like he didn't care about no belt. That's why I say, depending on who's looking at it and you know what I'm saying, who's really judging the sport, depends on whether or not the belts even matter. Because both, I mean, Cruz didn't really care about no belt. He just wanted to be able to get back in there and try to upset the apple cart and beat the money man in Tank. If Tank would have took that fight or said, hey man, come Bosa, let's get it on, it would have never been nothing over there in Australia. And that fight would have went down. And who you think would have won that fight? So the last game of 135 with the Tank had that fight took place. But Devin did what he needed to do. You know what I'm saying? Did it again. Then he defended it against Loma. I found it real interesting, all the traction that Loma was getting. Loma got more traction this week than the Regis and Devin fight. Like, everybody was trying to, like, I was like, why are we bolstering up Loma at this point in time? He's still a name, but like, after all them losses, like, who gets credit? And then, like, as far as pay-per-views, Ryan too. They got credit. Just that credit that Ryan getting right now just for losing and having lost. And there's nothing else on the slate. You know what I'm saying? Like, is there gonna be a rematch for him and Tank like now? Like, are they gonna try to like do that again? Like, I don't know, man. Ryan, he get a lot of credit for having lost. I thought Rolly got a lot of credit. Think about it. This is like, look, I put respect on Canelo's name yesterday. I just did what Mell did. You know what I'm saying? I said, maybe I gotta lay off of Canelo. I don't know. But when you think about the whole torch passing and Canelo having fought Mayweather, I mean, he got dominated and shut out in that fight. And he still get more credit. He get credit. I'm like, what kind of boxing are we talking about when you get so much credit and you didn't win that fight? You didn't win that fight with Floyd. You know what I'm saying? But that's the part he's sticking to. Everybody go back and it's like, wow, because you didn't even win that fight. It doesn't matter once you start selling. I mean, depending on what side of the fence you land on. If you lose, you get, but like, think about it, man. That fight was pay-per-view last night. And I gotta sit down. I gotta go back and do my copy. That's gonna be probably one of my next videos after I sit down and analyze these numbers. But I watched that fight, and for that to be pay-per-view, and for us to get that version of Jermell that wasn't throwing his hands, as far as people wanting to buy it, people was already finding all kind of reasons as to why they wasn't gonna buy it. You think after seeing a performance like that, where you don't let your hands go and you not even like offensively yourself like that, people gonna be anxious? Oh no, man, he didn't show. They were already looking for a reason as to why not to support you. Let's say Rolly 2. Despite the best top guys, everyone wants to see fights to make it an event, and if they're both champions or whatever, then even better. Yeah. Yeah, I think these guys. I think I don't know. It's kind of hard, man. I still question where boxing is going, man. I think some of the names actually are willing to and actually want to. They just know that business-wise, it's not in the cards right now, and everything goes into timing. Because I can play you a clip with Shakur back when I made this video about what was going to happen at 135 with Devin and all that. I could play you a clip where Shakur pretty much came out and told us what it was going to be. He said, "Man, who knows, man? Maybe maybe to get down to me and Loma, you know what I'm saying, and probably with Devin going to 140, you know what I'm saying, and that's pretty much Devin going to 140. Loma said, nah, there's rumors that Loma going to fight Cam Bosa. But Shakur had been told us that. And I think when we get in these conversations, we go on these different channels, it's because like you might be an all PBC guy, or you might be an all top rank, or all design, or however, you might be one of them, right? And you lose focus and you lose sight to the fact that they're already best laid plans. Most of them include a 3-fight deal. Most people are not letting you sign up and hit it and quit it. You're not going to be able to do this only unless your cachet allows you to do that. But they want an obligation. If you look at it, if you're looking at anything between two promotional companies, the money has to make sense and the time has to be right, or it can't interfere with their best laid plans. Both guys want to fight a gap. Yes, that's supposed to be how it is. That's what they say. That's how you know. Like with this Shakur and De Los Santos, I got my fingers crossed that they get across the finish line. I got my fingers crossed that they get across the finish line, but it sound like they want to fight each other. I ain't hear a whole lot of back and forth. You know what I'm saying, about the negotiation, this and that. Yeah, and it could, somebody could limp out or pop out or injury or pop out or whatever else in boxing. You know what I'm saying? That could happen, but it seems like both of them guys want to fight. Both of them guys want to fight. Thanks for everybody who came in, man. If you came in and if you could hit the like button for you, boy. You know what I'm saying? Just here talking some boxing. You hear me? And music up a little bit. I got you. Yeah, man. Thanks for everybody who rocking with me, man. I appreciate the energy, man. Appreciate everybody who showed up. Be rocking with the boy. Got that link out there, man. Yeah, man. Still gotta get on here, man. Eat my crow, man. Speak to the situation, man. You know, just give a post, not post on boxing, man, and what's going on, man. You know, I ain't gonna turn my back on Jermell, man, but I am disappointed by that performance. Wish he would have let his hands go. And I know you wanted that bag, but man, we expected more. Hope it's a lesson to young fighters like with Jesus Ramos. Don't ever let up off the gas, even though you should have got the nod on that. I'm happy for losing, but Ramos should have got the nod for that. It just is what it is. Hopefully that's going to change both of them fighters for the better. You know, will we still Lubin and Fondor rematch? What's going to happen with Zoo and Mendoza? For me, Zoo is a live dog, and I think that his glamour and his prowess and his experience and all that, he's building up a reputation. He can crack if he can get it off, but I think that technically, you know what I'm saying, technically he can be beat. Me personally, I would love to see a Tony Harrison and the Erickson Lubin. I would love to see a Tony Harrison and Erickson Lubin now. You know what I'm saying? I would like to see that. What's next for Bud? You know, is the rematch going to still go through? Is Earl, you know what I'm saying? I haven't heard from Earl. I haven't seen much put out on Earl, anything that's concrete, you know what I'm saying? But like, what's going on with Earl, man? What's next for Frank? What's next for Frank? Everybody was saying it might be Tank, but then we come out and we see Tank saying, you know, he gonna handle his affairs. I guess he got, you know, his family and community service and things like that stuff he got to get in order or whatever before he get back. And he's gonna come back at the beginning of the year, but with Tank making that announcement, can we take Frank off the table? Are we gonna get a Frank and a Pitbull? Oh, Wayne. Man, Wayne want to get on here. Oh, hold on, y'all. Let me holler at my man Wayne real quick. Hold on, let me see. I miss my man. I normally have my phone on silent when I'm on here, so I don't hear nothing. I miss my man. My man was gonna hop up here and, you know what I'm saying, see what it do. But yeah, man. What's going on with the state of boxing, man? What's the next big fight y'all looking forward to? You know what I'm saying? Where's boxing going? What's up with the sport, man? What we gonna do about this judging? What are we gonna do about these judges and these scorecards and everything, man? All those post-fight interviews, man, I don't know if those are gonna age well for my man Jermell. You know what I'm saying? But I know that bag, you know what I'm saying? He gonna feel good about that bag. But as far as the material and everybody gonna take and run with, you know what I'm saying? And especially the fact that Canelo could say, this the kind of animal, you know, whatever animal I can be, you know, that whole thing, man, it's gonna be crazy. But man, yeah, I wasn't gonna stay on here long, man. I stayed on here way longer than I usually do. But I figured I'd come on here, eat some crow. You know what I'm saying? Give my perspective on what happened in this fight. You know, and just talk to the people, man. Just be real and transparent about everything that I saw. Thanks to my man GXTV. You know what I'm saying? He came through. King Sakuna came through. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate it. But yeah, that's it, man. I got a video probably coming out breaking down these numbers. I know what my eyes saw. I know what I recorded. You know what I'm saying? But I want to look at these CompuBox. I want to take some things in, because like sometimes the best time to get a take on a fight is not really right after the fighters get done fighting, because there's so much adrenaline and testosterone and emotions and, you know, highs and lows and knee-jerk reactions. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's best to wait a couple days. So I'm gonna wait a couple days. I'm gonna gather some, you know, some information and some insight, man. And you know, I'm gonna probably do some videos about that and just come back, man. But thanks for everybody who took the time out to come and, you know what I'm saying, chop it up with me. You know, I appreciate all the comments, all the feedback. You know, this is an alternative perspective. You know what I'm saying? This is just to add on to whatever you might see going on or how you see everything going on. I still think we need to stand by, you know what I'm saying, certain fighters, because they all get hit in the head for a living. Sometimes they make mistakes. Sometimes they have bad nights. This right here, I just think that this was already a preordained, you know, style of fight that Jermell had chose before the fight, where he was going to be non-committal. And unfortunately, we paid for it. I don't feel like I got my money's worth, but I'm going to still support the brother. I just had to come out here and say, hey, man, don't do that again. But salute to everybody who came through and supported me, man. I really appreciate that. I can't say that enough. And I ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to stay, contrary to popular belief. It is what it is. But thanks for tuning in here at Bodywork Boxing, where we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.